And do your thing, and the floor is yours.
All right, I'm gonna jump in. I'm gonna stop my video when I start the screen sharing. I still have some problems with Zoom and screen sharing, but welcome. If this is your first ChatGPT AI class, that's great. And if you're back for the second one, hopefully we kind of build on some of the things that we learned last time, and then at the end we'll have a little bit of fun with a new feature that came out for image generation on AI. So we'll jump into it, and I'll kind of go through everything. If you've got questions, we'll kind of have a Q&A at the end. There'll be just some informational stuff at the beginning. Then we're going to do some demonstrations on practical application and how you can use ChatGPT and AI every day. And then we'll jump into Q&A and some fun stuff with the image generation. So here we go. All right, let me know if you can see the screen.
Yes.
We can see it.
We got it.
All right, well, here we go. So continuing your journey with AI. So we're gonna kind of continue where we left off last time. And we're gonna start with just talking a little bit about AI ethics in real estate. So AI ethics is a big topic, and some of the things that you need to be on the lookout for and be concerned about on the ethical front as you're using ChatGPT. So, as artificial intelligence becomes increasingly integrated into real estate practices, understanding and upholding ethical principles is crucial. So this segment will kind of explore the essentials of AI ethics that real estate professionals should be aware of, and help you ensure that you're using AI responsibly as you use it in your day-to-day work. So the first thing to talk about is kind of the role of AI in decision making. So one of the things that you want to be careful about is AI tools can influence property valuations, client interactions. They can inform your marketing strategies, and it's essential to use those tools responsibly to avoid unfair bias and maintain your professional integrity. So one of the good example of that is an AI algorithm, as you use it, it may begin to suggest properties to clients based on past behavior. And you want to make sure that you're not just blindly taking AI suggestions and giving them to a client. You want to look at them and use your professional skills and use it to enhance what you're telling your client. You don't want to give a client bad advice because you're just copying and pasting AI recommendations. So that's an important one, is making sure that the information you're giving your clients is accurate and unbiased. The second is mitigating bias. So one thing to be careful of is these models draw off of an immense amount of data and use algorithms to come up with their output. And if you're not instructing it properly, or you're not 100% sure what data it's pulling, you could get situations where certain neighborhoods are unintentionally favored over others, right? And so you want to make sure that you're looking into those things and make sure that all of the fair housing aspects and those important concerns are considered when you're using AI. The next big one is data privacy and security. So when you're handling data and uploading it into the AI, you have to remember it's not a secure connection. So when you're putting something into ChatGPT, Microsoft owns ChatGPT, Microsoft owns OpenAI, and you're giving that information and that data over to Microsoft, and it's going onto their servers. And so you want to be careful and make sure that you're not uploading um, personal information. If you're trying to use chat gpt to help you analyze data or prepare something for a client, you want to make sure that you're not putting personal data like social security numbers into chat gpt. So just keep that in mind. It's not a secure platform, and everything that you put on it is it's learning from, and so you want to be careful about putting any sort of private or secure data on there as well. And finally, the ethical use of AI in client relations, and we talked about this last time, and we'll probably talk about it every class, but AI doesn't replace the personal touch that you should have as a real estate professional. It's there to enhance what you already do uh, and augment your expertise, but you want to keep that personalized touch and that personalized service to make sure, again, that everything you're providing to your client is ethical, correct, and that you're giving them a professional experience with you. So that's just a quick overview. I wanted to have a little educational piece before we jump into the demonstrations on some things to consider about ethics when you're using ChatGPT. So I don't know. I'll see if anybody has any questions before we jump into the next section, which will be the kind of some demonstrations again, like we did last time.
So Troy, I know you've talked about this before, but kind of on that ethics thought process on using Chat GPT and things like that, because we had some fun recently doing some of this stuff and sending out to emails and having some fun with people to see if, like, hey, do you think this sounds like me? And obviously there's some esteemed colleagues that are like that ain't you, right? And so what are some best practices for people using, from an ethics standpoint, utilizing things like Chat GPT and AI to send emails or put together market descriptions or things like that?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is if it really helps, and we talked about this last time a little bit too, if you start with something that you put together yourself. So rather than going to ChatGPT and saying, "Hey, I want a market analysis for this submarket in this area," um, do the market analysis yourself like you normally would, and then put that into chat gpt and say, hey, I did this market analysis, this is my work, help me make this more professional, or how can I improve this market analysis? And that way you're much more in control of the data that you're using and the output that you're getting. So you're not relying on chat gpt, where again, these things are trained on millions and millions and millions of web pages and books and papers and everything. So if you just go ask it something, you're not 100% sure where it's finding the information that it's giving you. And it does a really good job of making it sound good. But if you start with something that you've created, then you know that that's accurate, and it will help you really make sure that the feedback you're getting from ChatGPT is accurate and is something that you'd want to share with a client. All right, let's see. Chat. All right, so let's see. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again, and we'll jump into kind of the next section of this. I came up with some different ways, pretty fun ways, I think, that you can use ChatGPT. Now going beyond just having it help you draft emails or help you do a market analysis, how can it kind of help you become a better real estate professional? So let's jump into some examples and take a look at that. All right. So practical applications in real estate. So one of the really fun things that you can do is scenario-based role plays and client interaction simulations. So you can prompt ChatGPT to act as another person in a conversation. And the ones I'm going to demonstrate today are going to be pretty high level, but you could start these off. We learned last time how we can give chat GPT chat information about a listing, for example. So you could start by giving it the information about a listing, and then you could run one of these role play scenarios or client interaction simulations to um, just do it's kind of like scripts and role play but with chat gpt. So the big thing for me to point out here is, again, AI is not a replacement for the human interaction. And the one great thing about century 21 masters is all of the fantastic training that's out there, and ChatGPT is not going to beat that, I promise. So that's where you want to go first. But as you start learning these things in scripts and role play and you start learning overcoming objections, this is a fun way, if you've got some time on your hands, to hop in and just see what kinds of scenarios you can come up with to ask ChatGPT. So let's start with this one. We'll have the role play prompt is act as a potential buyer in a chat conversation format, attending an open house for a 4-bedroom home. Ask me, the agent, questions about the property, including details about local community, schools, and any recent renovations. I'll respond to your inquiries conversationally. So I'm just going to copy this. And again, this would work better if you had given it an actual listing and it already knew about the listing, but it should still pick up on this. And let's see what happens. So it says, absolutely. Hi there. I'm interested in the 4-bedroom home you're showing today. It looks quite spacious and inviting. Can you tell me more about any recent renovations that have been done to the property? Also, I'm curious about the local community. What's the neighborhood like? And finally, how are the schools in this area? And so you can, you can just talk to it and say, you know, really, oops, I'm really excited about your interest in this property. It has some fantastic renovations, like an open, remodeled kitchen with new appliances. Who are you inviting to your first dinner party? So again, you can just talk to it and it'll respond. That sounds wonderful. The remodeled kitchen with new appliances is definitely a big plus. I can imagine hosting some close friends and family for my first dinner party there. They would love the modern space and touches. Could you also tell me more about the outdoor space? Is there a backyard area? And how about the bedrooms? Are they all the same size, or is the master suite separate? So you get the idea here of how that can be useful for honing your skills um, on questions that might come up at an open house. And you can prompt it to give you more difficult questions. Say these are softballs, like let's have some objections for me to overcome at the open house, and it'll generate those things. So that's one example. The next example we have is a negotiation simulation. So for this one, the role play prompt would be, I'm a seller's agent and you are representing the buyer, um, who wants to make an offer below the asking price. Let's negotiate the deal, discussing the offer, counter offers, and reasons for the proposed price. You start the conversation and I'll reply in the chat. So This is another prompt that you can give it. We'll see. I didn't test these out before, so this is pretty exciting for me too. So ChatGPT responds, "Hello, I represent the buyer interested in your client's property. After careful consideration, my client is prepared to make an offer. However, they're looking to offer $50,000 below the asking price. The reasoning behind this is primarily due to comparable properties in the area selling for less and also factoring in some updates and repairs that the house may need in the near future. We believe this offer reflects fair market value, and my client is very much interested in proceeding if we can reach an agreeable price. What are your thoughts?" And again, you can respond to it and have that conversation and kind of work through a negotiation. And again, you could seed it or prompt it to be a more difficult negotiator, or give it other ideas. And I'll send you guys these prompts too, so you can play around with them. And the final one I did here was a role play. We need to come up with a marketing strategy for a unique historic property in a rural area. As my marketing consultant, let's brainstorm target demographics, advertising channels, and key messaging. Let's do this conversationally. So if you ask it to do it conversationally, it'll do just that. It'll have a conversation with you, as opposed to just spitting out, rote prose about the topic. So it says it's excited to brainstorm with us. And then it's asking some questions in terms of messaging. I think we should highlight the historic charm, tranquility. What do you think? And then you can tell it, yes, that's great. It's also very close to the new stadium. And it'll talk to you as if it's a marketing consultant that's helping you come up with marketing ideas for that particular property in that neighborhood. So I know those were quick. It's a little, I'm not sure how this translates across Zoom, but I wanted to give you guys some ideas on what you can use this for, and how different ways other than just having it write emails for you. Does anybody have any questions on that or those applications? Robert's shockingly quiet.
I know. I know. Well, I'm just paying attention, and I always use ChatGPT when you're here, so that way I can test things out while you're here. So I'm crafting some things as you're doing it, so I can figure this out as well.
Troy, I have a question.
Yes.
When you threw in the chat about the market analysis,
Uh-huh.
and it gave you back an answer, the chat it gave you back an answer that they should reduce it by $50,000 based on the market analysis, so and so and so. I mean, we would have to check that to make sure, right? I
Right.
mean,
And
we won't take that chat and just put it out
exactly.
there.
Exactly.
Okay.
That one, again, that one, it's just generating off the cuff. To do
Mhm.
this, you really want to give it an actual listing that you're working on.
Right.
And so you can give it the listing, for example, and ask it to summarize the listing and ask it questions about the listing to ensure that it really understands the listing, and then run the role play prompt on it, and it'll work from that specific listing. So that's better.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And then Amanda asked in the chat if it can translate to Spanish or other languages. Absolutely. As soon as it spits something out, you can just ask it, please translate that to Spanish or any language on earth or any fake made up language like Klingon, and it'll do it. So I believe it is
So
fairly.
if it does Klingon, does it also speak Chewbacca?
I think it can. I can't.
Sorry, Troy and I are just nerding out. Leave us alone.
And then Amanda asked if it's accurate. I am not fluent in multiple languages, so I don't know, but my understanding is that it is fairly accurate on its translations.
Yeah, Amanda, I've tried it and I've translated it into Spanish and I'm fluent in Spanish and it's pretty accurate.
So this is Miriam from Irvine office. I would like to know if because I have the free version of the Chat GPT. Is the one you're using paid version?
Sorry, it's a little hard to hear, Miriam. Did you say you have the paid version or the unpaid?
No, I got the unpaid.
Okay.
That's the one you have is a paid version.
Yes, the one I have is paid, and it's just $20 a month for the paid version. And you definitely can consider that a business expense for your tax write-offs. So I think it's a good use of $20 a month.
Thank you. Can you please uh, share the link to that one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
I'll paste it into the I'll paste it in the chat.
Thank you.
All right. Well, how much time we have left, Robert?
20 minutes.
20 minutes. All right. Well, if you guys want, we can just jump in and do some fun stuff with Chat GPT's new image generation. So you can come up with different ways that you might be able to utilize this, but I thought we'd just jump in and have some fun. It's pretty funny. People have been doing some pretty funny stuff with it since it came out a couple of weeks ago. Okay, so ChatGPT's image generation is called Dolly. So we can ask it, let's tell it, draw a picture of a real estate agent. She works for Century 21 Masters. It's not super fast, but let's see what it comes up with.
While you're waiting, can we download a photo that probably is a little blurry and will it clear it up?
It won't. So they shut that down really quickly. It will not take a photo and alter it or do anything to a photo that you put into it. All right, so there's our Century 21 Masters agent. And I'm going to tell it this is good, but she should look like a real deal closer. She signs all the listings.
Wow, is this a free option or is this something that we also have to?
This is part of the $20 a month.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. This is funny. I don't know if anybody's seen these memes that are going around of people doing this with different things, but I thought doing it with real estate agents.
Yeah, we just saw one today, that you came into the class and showed us this particular one.
Oh, cool. Okay, so I'm gonna say this is good, but she doesn't look like she closes enough deals. This agent closes all of the deals. Make sure that is clear. I'm a horrible typist, but it figures it out because it's AI.
Can we load, like, for example, can we load a picture of ourselves and make it into a cartoon?
It won't do that. There's some apps out there that will do that, but they almost immediately, once they release this, turned off the ability to upload photos. I think immediately people started doing nefarious things with photo uploads, so they shut it down pretty quickly.
Unfortunate. Interesting.
But there's apps on your phone that'll do it. The one on the, there we go. Now we got a bunch of awards. Let's tell it we can do even better. So let's see her as an agent that closes all of the deals in the universe, splitting the fabric of time.
So Troy, while you're doing this, I'll share something I just did. Is I went to Chat GPT and I said, "Can you please expand on this email?" And I just put in some basic information, and it spit out an email, but it was far too complex for something that I would write. So I went back and what you taught is I just said, "Thanks, but can you make it more casual?" And it spit back an email that was same information, but totally different. Like the words were different. It was much more easy to understand. So it's really cool how you can just make it seem very, you can seem very knowledgeable. You can make it more casual. You can do a lot of different things with just the stuff that you're writing. It's very impressive.
Yeah, that's where it's really super helpful. So there's our Century 21 Masters agent, and she becomes master of the universe.
Oh, I like that. Masters of the Universe. Well played.
But if you want a more practical application of this, you could ask it, create a graphic for my PowerPoint on AI in real estate.
There's no limit as to how many times you can ask it questions, right?
Oh, there is. I've hit it every day the last week or so.
Oh.
Yeah, eventually it tells you you've used up all your
It tells you get a life. Go outside.
yeah. So, this is pretty cool. You can use it to generate things like this. So,
Oh, that's nice.
yeah, different ideas, and then you can tell it to alter that. So it definitely has some uses that you could use in listing presentations and things like that to come up with some really cool original art to add in there. So that's pretty much all I had for today. Let me know if you guys have any other questions or comments on AI and real estate.
Maybe Troy, just we could do for a few minutes, just do like go back to what you did last week and do an example of putting together like a property description.
Yeah,
'Cause some of the stuff you talked about last week was great, but I understand that everyone on here is smarter than I am. I've accepted that. But sometimes it takes me 2 or 3 times to be shown something before it really sticks. So let's just assume that there are other people on here that feel the same way, even though I know it's only me.
let's go back and do that. The what I'm gonna do is can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. I am just gonna go grab I'm just gonna use a Zillow listing. You can feed it the listing from anywhere, including a PDF. So if you can export a PDF from the MLS of a listing, you can give it that. I don't have one right offhand, so I'm just gonna grab as much information off of this Zillow listing as I can. Pop back over to ChatGPT. I'm going to tell it, I am going to give you some information about a property listing I have. Please summarize the listing info for me. So I'm going to tell it, I'm going to give it some information. And then you can literally just paste all of that into ChatGPT. Send. So that's everything that we pasted in there. So it's going to tell us the key information about it. Okay, so it took what I put in and it pretty much summarized it. So this is what I was talking about earlier, where now you can look through it and kind of determine if it understands what's in that listing. And then you can tell it, thank you, please write an outstanding rental listing for this home and include details about the nearby neighborhood, schools, parks, etc. So I'm just going to tell it to write a rental listing for the home and include some details. And it's off and running. So it's a charming 4-bedroom, 2-bath home in South Pasadena.
Or if you ask it to
This is
type
wild.
paragraph, it will type the paragraph for the description instead of like bullet points.
This is effing incredible, you guys.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Mm.
Yeah, it's really crazy. Yeah, so let's take the key features. So you can tell it, please redo the key features section as prose paragraph instead of bullet points. So you can tell it to that, and then it'll redo, here's the redone key features section, but it's going to do it as a paragraph.
Yes.
And then you can tell it, that's great. Show me the updated listing with this section replacing the old one. Sometimes you have to be more specific or it'll stick both of them in there. But I'm going to tell it this is great. Let's see the whole listing with that replacing the old one. Now it'll give you the whole full thing again, but with the key features now should be a paragraph. We'll see. There you go.
I noticed that you say thank you and that's great and things like that. Is that helpful?
It is for me. It's you don't have to, but
I asked him the same question last week. Troy's just trying not to make anybody mad, including AI.
You must be amiable.
He knows AI is going to control us all in the next couple of years, and Troy wants to be, on their good side.
I think one of the things that I've read about prompting it that way is the positive feedback, it understands that it's going in the right direction, and so it'll continue to work in the style that it's working in. Whereas if you tell it, this is
one little
terrible.
note on a kind of a more serious note here, just for us. Troy, scroll up a little bit to where it describes the property.
Yeah.
Okay, so right here. So make sure for all of you when you put this goes without saying, but we're just going to say it anyways, is make sure you proofread everything before you put it, because I've tested this a few different times on some properties, and this spits out some really great property information, but it might not always be, it might not fit. So like, for example, this talks about, 4 spacious bedrooms, ample space for relaxation and personalization. Well, maybe this particular property, the bedrooms are not very spacious. So you could use this and it might hit it spot on, but usually there's 1 or 2 things that are like, this is not quite, for this particular unit. So just make sure you proofread everything, make the proper edits before you send it out.
Yep. And to kind of go back to the ethics that we were talking about earlier, we use it all the time in the property management company, and then it will almost always, when we ask it to talk about schools, put in there somewhere that it's such a great house for families, which is a big no-no in a rental listing. So just make sure that it's not saying anything like that. One of the things that you can do is prompt it beforehand and say, this is for a rental listing in California. Please make sure you avoid any language that would violate fair housing laws. And then it'll know to do that. But if you don't, it will write whatever it thinks. But you can tell it. So example, let's tell it this is terrible. The property sounds do better. So you can be mean to it too. And oh, we ran out of Chat GPT for it. That's okay. So it'll rewrite it now because we told it was bad, and make it sound less boring. All right, we're coming up to 1 o'clock here. Jump out of here and feel free to shoot me an email. I think Robert put my info in the chat.
I have a question. Last time I put it on my phone and I've used it a few times. Thank you very much. And I just now went online on my computer. Do you have to go in every single time and log in? Yeah.
Usually once you log in on your computer, it'll keep you logged in.
Okay. I'll figure it out. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Which means if you want to have some fun, steal somebody's computer and then go to Chat GPT and figure out what they've been trying to figure out with their life. Good stuff. Well, Troy, this has been fantastic. Again, greatly appreciate it. And as just to let everybody know, the first Wednesday of every month, we're gonna have a class like this. So Troy will go into more features and tools of different Chat GPT AI stuff, but come with questions, number one. Okay, so he can go over those types of things. But two, I would recommend, I should have said this at the beginning, but next month, have Chat GPT open while he's presenting. So that way you can like try to test something out and then like, hey, it came up with this. How can I make it a little bit better? That's what I was doing. That's why I said I typed an email and then I said, okay, hey, can you make it more casual and things like that? So have that open. But first Wednesday of every month, 12:15, he's going to be here doing this stuff. This is cool stuff and it makes your life more efficient. So, take advantage of it for sure.
Do we have Chat GPT through Follow Up Boss? Do we have it with the company or do we have to download it ourselves and pay for it?
No, the paid version you have to pay for yourself. It's not part of Follow Up Boss or any other form or any other CRM or anything. But there's the free version, which most of you could probably get away with the free version. I would say understand the free version before you go to the paid version. Figure out how to write an email or a property
I'd
description
agree
before you
with
start
that.
playing with
Play
images.
around with the free version until it's, you don't need it. There's no reason to pay for it if you're not using it. And then I'll be using the paid version on a lot of this. I've got some ideas to go into showing you how you can upload, data into it and do data analysis and things like that as well. So, and if you have any ideas on something you want to see, feel free to email me too. How does it do this or that? And I'll be happy to help out.
There we go. Troy, you're the man, buddy. Greatly appreciate it.
Thanks so
guys.
much. This is awesome.